Good morning, great morning, wonderful morning, spectacular morning, outstanding morning, magnificent morning. Should I say it? I think so. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious morning. Yes. The beautiful reminder again that we get to choose. Remember, everything is fundamentally meaningless. Write that in your notes again. Everything just is. There's nothing that is good or bad. It's our thinking that makes it so. Now, why do I keep repeating this? Well, those of you who've been here with us for a while, you know why. Because it's repetition that embeds it into you subconsciously. See, there's a purpose for it. It's done intentionally, and it's done to help you to understand the right way of thinking. Not the wrong way, the right way. Why? Because you want right results, correct? Of course you do. Nod your heads. Yes, I do. Say, I do. Of course you do. You want to change your outcomes? Well, that means you got to deal with the cause. Now, what is the cause of the results? Talking about how much you earn, what you do for work, your lifestyle. Okay, raise your hand if you're wanting to change those things. Yes, you are. Okay, well, if you want to change those things, you got to deal with the cause. The cause is how you're thinking. This brings me up to another beautiful reminder because a lot of us, when we want the change, we've been fed this lie. And that lie is that the reason why it's not happening for you is because you're stopping you, that you're in the way, that you're your own worst enemy, that you're self sabotaging. You've heard that, right? You've heard that, correct? You've heard, oh yeah, I'm self-sabotaging. But it's a bunch of bullshit. It's not true. You're not stopping you at all. You are not in the way. You are not your own worst enemy. What's in the way is what's in you. It's what's in your heart. As you thinketh in your heart, so are you. As you thinketh based on what you believe to be true, the habits you have, so are you. So are the outcomes. See, that's what's in the way. You are not fighting you. You are fighting a program that's in you. And the sooner you get that, the sooner you'll be able to make whatever change you want. The sooner you'll be able to manifest this, whatever is on your goal card. How many of you have a goal card? Raise your goal card up like this. This right here is something that you can deliver in your outer world. Bob Proctor said that frequently. If you write it on a card, it must happen. Now, remember though, he was saying that based from the assumption that you're in love with the idea. See, that's what's got to happen. You've got to be in love with the idea. So make sure you're in love with the idea. Make sure that you're thinking from it, because that's how it's going to happen. Now, we've been studying this magnificent masterpiece, The Master Key System by Charles Haanel. If you don't have a copy of this, get a copy of it. We'll place the link in the chat here for you to be able to purchase it. It's an amazing book, as many of you have been discovering. And make sure you also write in it and highlight the mess out of it. Another beautiful companion for you too, as well as the subconscious code. We were just talking about this recently. Beautiful idea about the crazy awesome stick person, which is super, super cool. It'll help you to get a clear picture of your mind, which will then help you to make changes pretty darn quick. All right, so let's dive into this, shall we? Let's go into where we are in the master key system. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Whoosh, like magic. There it is. Now, here we are on page 186. And we touched on this a little bit yesterday, but we're going to touch on it again today. Okay, so now, if your thought, now I'm speaking directly to you, if your thought is in harmony with the creative principle of nature. Now, remember, nature reveals abundance everywhere. Nature is lavish. Just look at all the blades of grass that are out there, the water, the air. It's everywhere. And As a reminder, you are part of nature. Now, with this being said, if your thought is in harmony with the creative principle of nature, it is in tune with the infinite mind. And it will form the circuit. It will not return to you void. This reminds me of thinking into results, which is something that both Dolly and I share and facilitate. It's such an amazing program. But this is something that we had to learn as well. Okay, we have this infinite resource to tap into. There is no limitation in it. The only limitation you have are the limitations you've agreed to, the limitations that have been conditioned in you. Now, with this being said, when you tap into what's in your nature, if you act in harmony with your true nature, which is that of a magnificent creative being, always for expansion, full expression, it will not return to you void. But it is possible for you to think thoughts that are not in tune with the infinite. And there's no polarity. The circuit is not formed. Now, how is that we do that unknowingly? Remember, all negativity is subconscious. Well, we do it by thinking thoughts that are not in harmony with growth. You know what I've learned, and this is so cool because I grew up very, very religious. And they used to always talk about how important it is for you not to use the Lord's name in vain. And then I started to realize, oh my God, if God's in me, and if I say, and it's something that's negative, that I can't do it, I'm not smart enough, I'm actually using the Lord's name in vain. See, I'm not in tune with the creative being that I am. Now, this is not a sermon in any way, shape, or form. We're talking about a principle. Now, what then is the result when you're not in harmony with your true nature? The result is that the dynamo will the result, what is the result when a dynamo is generating electricity? The circuit is cut off and there is no outlet. The dynamo stops. See, stagnation comes into play. This is why it's so important for you to allow yourself to step into that uncertainty. We dive into this beautifully in this beautiful masterpiece here, and there's no such thing as self-sabotage. There's a chapter in there which ties into these two magnificent things you have in you, which propel you forward, of which the first one is dissatisfaction. Remember, dissatisfaction is the spark for change. Dissatisfaction is what leads to change, is what leads to progress. Yet many of us have been conditioned to be satisfied, which then leads to complacency, which then leads to more of the same, which leads to exactly what happens here, is that there's no outlet and the dynamo stops. Remember, life is dynamic, it's not static. It's not passive. There has to be movement inside. Now, with this, meaning electricity, it is exactly the same for you. If you entertain thoughts which are not in accordance with the infinite and cannot therefore be polarized, there is no circuit. You are isolated. The thoughts cling to you, harass you, worry you, and finally bring about disease and possibly death. The physician may not diagnose the case exactly this way. He may give it some fancy name, which has been manufactured for the various ills which are the result of what? Wrong thinking. But the cause is the same nevertheless. Now think about this. What is he saying here? He's saying that thought is powerful. When there's a change happening in your body chemically, it's because something's moving differently. And the whole point that he's bringing up here is that you have this wonderful ability to use your thoughts however you want to use them, which then will bring about health, wealth, happiness. But see, guess who has to do that for you?